Twin Bill, where you can get your fill of hosts Jason and Marcus talking about movies and stuff. You know you never can get enough. A twin is two people who are related. Twin Bill. This season is Razzie Mania. Hello! Welcome to Twin Bill, the show that is also middle-aged crazy because we're middle-aged twins. Nailed it.
Yeah, we're crazy.
Free podcast at these prices. I must have mental damage. Like crazy Eddie. Yeah, welcome to Twin Bill, show where twins talk about the movies. How's it going, Marcus?
Uh, in the middle of a long weekend from work, so that's nice. For some reason, get Good Friday off. I've never had that happen before. Well, never. This is the first company I've had that happen, and it's a nice, makes the early April a little nicer.
Guess you could say it's a Good Friday.
Well, like Great Friday, am I right?
Right.
Rename it, Jesus.
Yeah, I always get Good Friday off because I'm marginally part-time employed. Not a big
Too much information.
so did you see anything this week, Marcus?
I did. It's the first time listening to the previous episode of what went wrong, where they said you better watch the movie before we do the episode. So I watched all fun movies, American History X. Um, it's very good. It's it, yeah, as they get into the podcast, it could be a little better, but when I saw it, for one thing, it's kind of scary because sorry to get political here, but we have fascist things happening with our current government, and in a way, kind of predict it. In some ways, it's eerily similar to some of the things that are happening now.
Well, I'm sure they literally got into it on your show, but the famously American History X, I can't remember his name because he kind of got blackballed from Hollywood. The director did not get to finish his vision of the movie. I've never seen it, but that's what I always heard. But, yeah.
Tony K, yes. He's a narcissist, crazy person. So yeah,
So was Edward Norton. Or wait, that was the reverse of the joke I was gonna say, but
he made that joke like 50 times that they're both crazy on the episode of that movie. Yeah. What have you seen, Jason?
just as good caliber. It's an early '90s bomb called Loose Cannons, and there have been a lot of failed ideas for buddy cop comedies, but this is probably the worst because you have Gene Hackman cashing in a paycheck, showing off his brilliant comedy chops, which is already a good sign, and then his partner in crime is Dan Aykroyd playing a character with multiple personality disorders, which needs to say almost is not an accurate depiction of the dissociative identity disorder disease, but also because he has multiple personalities, all it means is he just randomly slips into celebrity impressions and acts like they're real. Like they're driving a car and he's like, I'm Captain Kirk driving the Enterprise. And then Diago's like, you're not Captain Kirk. And then Diago's like, yeah, because I'm Montgomery Scott. The car kind of this is the whole movie.
He was doing Caddyshack 2, call back to Dr. Detroit. He just does these crazy voices, but doesn't mean they're necessarily funny, you know?
That's the whole thing because he's not. We talked about on the Doctor Detroit episode, but he's not a stand-up comic. He's not a charismatic everyman lead actor like Eddie Murphy who can play himself and people like him. So he always does these stilted, like foreign voices as a quote unquote comedic device. Anyway, yeah. So apparently, well, the movie bombed, and apparently Dan Aykroyd said that Gene Hackman was tough to work with, which is not very surprising. But, main thing Gene Hackman's character is a big then Redskins fan and wears a Redskins jacket the whole movie. It's really, really weird. Looks nice, I guess. But all right, uh, let's talk about this movie. This week we talked about what we watched. Middle Age Crazy. I kind of made a vague point last week, but I agree with Matt still that technically you can make a Razzies with 10 movies that are like Middle Age Crazy because as we'll get into, this is basically like a Canadian film sitcom pilot that got stretched into a theatrical run because of the cast. It's not. So I feel like this is really the kind of bad movie that the Razzies should talk about if they're literally looking for the combination of bad movie, not interesting, and shot poorly. This is like the apex of all three. But, yeah, yeah.
Does it start as a TV pilot?
No, but I'm just saying that the as we'll get into the production quality, the visuals, it resembles a television show and the visual.
Well, it might have been the fault of the VHS rip we watched.
Mother Russia's favorite website. I'm just doing all my Eastern European voice, only one, but yeah. All right, yeah. So let's talk about the movie and stop me trying to explain it in advance. Okay, sure. So Middle Age Crazy is a 1980 comedy. It is directed by a man named John Trent, who is probably the least famous director this podcast has ever encountered. It was very difficult to find him on IMDb. It's a theme for this movie. He only directed one theatrical movie after this movie was released. It's called Best Revenge, a European drug deal kidnapping thriller. You have any idea, random guess, what actor starred in that movie?
Jack Palance.
It's the dad from Home Alone, John Hurd.
Nice.
Also the detective guy from The Sopranos. Yeah.
Yep. That's the list of John Hurt I can think of.
So yeah, so like I said, John Trent directed a bunch of no-name Canadian comedies. One of them starred John Candy, but I'd never heard of her before, so I didn't even bother writing it down. Uh, and he actually John Trent passed away in 1984, so this movie is pretty much his only shot at the quote unquote big time. If you call this big time, but yeah.
It was Fox production.
Yeah, this movie got real distribution. It just disappeared afterwards. Yeah. Uh, this movie was written by a man with a surprisingly comical name of Carl Kleinschmidt. Schmidt, yeah, with no D, it's still Schmidt, I guess. Yeah, okay. Uh, he's also not famous. He contributed to 9 episodes of the Dick Van Dyke Show, which sounds good, and 2 episodes of MASH. This is the only feature film he ever wrote in his career.
Nice.
And then the writing for this movie takes a turn because second in line on the writing credit. Well, the weird thing is Wikipedia and a lot of sources said it was Jerry Lee Lewis, which is obviously weird. We'll talk about that. But also, IMDb swears that this credit actually goes to Sonny Throckmorton, who actually wrote the song. Anyway, Jerry Lee Lewis wrote a song called Middle Age Crazy, which is a ballad about a guy who's middle-aged.
And does things exactly like in the movie, in the lyrics.
Yes, that's why he gets the writing credits, because it wasn't coincidental. The song came out first. The producers or Carl Kleinschmidt took ideas from the song. It wasn't like a coincidence or they're lying about it. They're very open about it. Same movie title, same title, obviously. So I thought the song was okay. I was actually kind of surprised because the song works best to me as sort of like a Dr. Demento, like anti quasi comedy song. What did you think of the song?
Uh, it's a mediocre country story song. I don't think it's a Dr. Demento type song. It's a lot of country songs are like, I went to the bar and drank some whiskey. A girl locked out of me. That type of stuff. That's kind of what the song's like. Although it's more specific to middle age, so I guess in that way it's a little wackier. But like the movie, it's stereotypical middle age life crisis thing. So it's I don't know.
I know what you mean. I thought the song was definitely less cliched than the movie, which helps because it's three minutes long as opposed to an hour and a half or whatever that was. That was long. Uh, I mean, yeah, on a pure enjoyment level, the song is like 10,000 to 1, but yeah. So talk a little bit about Jerry Lee Lewis because he's credited in the movie. Uh, he did a few random like live things and those old timey. Let's make a movie about pop singers singing. Not as famous as like what's a good example? I don't know.
Elvis,
What?
Elvis.
Yeah, but there's other ones where it's like a bunch of 50s guys. But anyway, he was never really in a famous movie like that. But he did some of those, and he's on like a zillion movie soundtracks. Great Balls of Fire or a whole lot of shaking going on. And Sonny Throckmorton, despite being I think it might be in the Hall of Fame for country songwriting, could not find any fun credits for him. But he wrote for like obviously Jerry Lee Lewis. I can't remember who else. Yep, kind of famous country artists.
Just is that a fake name? Because that's a pretty wacky name.
It does kind of sound like the real name of Sonny Cuckoo from Cocoa Puffs. Apparently that's his real name, but those Southerners have funny names. Let's talk about the producers, although like the director's not super famous. Literally, the first producer listed is a name named Ronald Cooper, who I could not find on IMDb off of Googling him or the link to the movie. So,
Fine.
and then confusingly, there's another producer. His name is Ronald Cohen. There's two Ronalds. Also not a frontline IMDb guy, but I did find him. He's
Which one was Big Shirtless Ron?
it must be Ronald Cooper because I can't find his credit.
Big Shirtless Ron. Simpsons. Let's go.
I was gonna do a joke with another name, but yeah, whatever. The Fondale sisters. Uh, so Ronald Cohen, like this movie, has a history of producing famous actors in movies you never heard of. Probably like this, they're like tax write-off or cheap Canadian movies or whatever. Like, you remember Peter O'Toole and the political thriller Power Play?
Sounds like a hockey movie, but no, I don't. I don't know that movie.
Speaking of sports, you remember Michael Douglas and the marathon running themed romantic drama Running?
Nope.
There you go. And then, arguably the most interesting credit in this whole movie, and honestly very disappointing with what happened. This movie's produced by Sid and Marty Krofft.
I saw that in like opening credits. Like, what the hell's going on?
So, before I get into my specific credits here, briefly explain to the audience who Sid and Marty Krofft are from your memory.
Me?
Yeah,
You
you know,
did puppet crap in the 70s, like
yeah.
HR Puffin stuff.
I think they trademarked puppet crap in the early 80s. Yeah, the HR Puff and stuff, Sigamond and the Sea Monsters, Lidsville, those are probably their most popular shows. All fairly short lived, but fairly prolific in terms of their like legacy or whatever. And it's interesting. The only other non fantasy puppet theatrical slash famous TV show related Sid and Marty Krofft credit I could find was Harry Tracy, The Last of the Wild Bunch, which is a Western romantic drama starring Bruce Dern.
Oh, geez, I'll be in your middle-aged movie if you'll be in a Western a couple of years later.
I don't want to talk any fucking puppets, okay? God damn it. And then, not surprisingly, the music of this movie, which was not great. Can you remember anything about the score to this movie?
I actually did like the music in this movie. There's a I thought it was like the point I could it's Pointer Sisters-esque song on the opening credits. Uh and there was a couple poppy songs because in the credits I did see Burt Bacharach.
I didn't notice that. Wow.
So I actually thought the music was relatively high quality, but the score itself, so those might have been special songs like Middle Age Crazy, which does appear in the movie.
Yeah, I think all the
The
ones you described.
score, like, is pretty generic when he's driving around and stuff. I don't know.
So it makes sense, I guess, because the score is done by a man named Matthew McCauley, Not any big credits, but he worked for a long time. Oddly, his most famous credit I recognized was he did the score for everyone's 15th favorite science fiction TV show, Andromeda, starring Kevin Sorbo.
Wow.
Yep. Apparently, Gene Roddenberry technically got a credit on the idea for Andromeda. It seemed like Sea Level Enterprise was already cheap. Was already a cheap show, but all right, let's talk about the cast. This will be short because there's only two famous actors in this movie, and they're on, and one of them's on screen for 80% of the movie. The other one's Ann-Margret. So we have Bruce Dern as Bobby Lee Burnett. Both our main characters have double names, which is annoying to me. But yeah,
Bobby Lee. They say it like 50 times this movie.
yeah. He's a 40-year old. It's big for the plot. Oldsmobile man, and
He's a contractor. He builds specifically taco stands. I built the most taco stands in the Houston area.
God damn it, I'm not building any chalupa stands.
It's just taco. I thought,
I know. It's still my booster impression.
what's the talupa?
Chalupa.
Oh, it's a chalupa, I think.
Bruce Dern's not good at Mexican food names. Anyway, sorry, moving on.
Getting a little Ross Perot.
I know, yeah. Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Yeah.
Ross Perot's
So,
gonna get in this hot tub with Ann-Margret. Yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say a plot hole I'm gonna bring up like 10,000 times in this review is Bruce Dern plays a man who has sex every night with Ann-Margret, complains about it, and tries to have sex with another woman.
God, geez, every time we have sex, we're trying to break records. The most miserable thing I've ever had. And the best friend, you might say in your actor reel, is the sense of reason in this movie because he actually refutes a lot of what Bruce Dern says logically, but then Bruce Dern just ignores it and keeps
Everyone
going
refutes,
crazy.
Ann-Margret refutes him. That guy refutes him. He just doesn't listen, and then the movie ends because it has to at some point.
Because I'm middle-aged crazy. My hearing don't work so good anymore.
I don't. Oh yeah, we'll get into the Bruce Dern quotes in a second. But this movie came out 2 years after Coming Home. Have you seen Coming Home?
Uh, that's the
Al Ashby, Vietnam vet or injured.
actually a trivia question or bar trivia about what was it was a halftime giving him film named the person won best actress for it, and I've never seen it, but I knew that Jane Fonda won best actress for that.
That movie's great. I mean, Al Ashby only makes good movies, but that movie was excellent. Bruce Dern was okay in it. But anyway, he's in it. And
Very
then
prolific. You love he he's been working since the 60s at least, in like westerns and stuff.
yeah. I don't do exhaustive career filmographies on this show. It's just like the before the Razzie,
Hmm.
but yeah. And he actually had a kind of a dry spell around the time of this movie, or he was working still, but none of his big hits or whatever. He didn't really have a big hit again until the Burbs, which I don't know if it's a big hit or not. I just remember the movie it came out in '89, and then he had the his Twilight activist career or whatever with like Nebraska and what's the one with the Quentin Tarantino one I don't like with the guys in the cabin.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
no.
He's in that.
Oh, he's in that too. Oh, but I was thinking the one with the Jamie Foxx, not the Kurt Russell and the Cowboys in the Woods.
Django Unchained.
One after that,
Oh,
Hateful Eight.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but yeah, those are kind of his. Yeah, and I just yeah. Okay. Then we have Ann-Margret as Sue Ann Barnett. Sue Ann, uh, the very attractive woman who is a big letdown as a sexually as a wife. What a letdown.
She gives him sex every night and it goes really long, but it's total hell for Bruce Dern.
Yeah,
Poor baby.
and she was very successful and attractive in the '60s and the '70s. Bye Bye Birdie, Carnal Knowledge, a lot more. 2 years before this, she did a movie I want to see because it's written by William Goldman. It's the puppet horror movie Magic.
No, she's in that. I don't know anything about it really except that Anthony Hopkins is in it, and I think Richard Attenborough directed it.
Yeah, it looks really good, but never saw it.
Yeah, I agree.
And then kind of similar to Bruce Dern, I didn't see a lot of big career highlights in this movie. Makes sense because the movie sucks and it's lame. But she didn't really have her big second act until I think Grumpy Old Men, which is all the way in '93. But, yeah.
And Grumpy, you're old man.
Apparently it's worse. I never saw either, so I don't know.
I've never seen the other one. I think I'll watch it at some point because actually, yeah,
It's got it's got all the correct hallmarks of a movie I want to watch. Lemon Mathau, quasi prestige comedy. Anywho, let's talk about the concept and ad campaign of this movie. This movie's insane, which makes sense because they're trying to market kind of a meh movie. But well, the title, Middle Age Crazy. I mean, it accurately depicts the plot, but to you, does Middle Age Crazy sound a little grammatically inaccurate? Like to me, I would rather if you're gonna just make it sound good, it'd be middle aged and crazy or something like that.
well, as we discussed earlier, it's based on the song. That's what the song's called. Um,
But do you think that as a grammatical phrase, that's a good kosher?
I think putting those three words together in any form, if you say middle-aged crazy, that would also sound crazy, pun not intended. I don't know. It's not a phrase you would say very often. There's quote unquote cashing in on the song.
Like midlife crisis would be a brilliant, not brilliant, but like accurate title. But yeah,
Yes, midlife crazy
not midlife
I don't know.
crazy. I don't like that either. But midlife crisis is just it's a little on the nose, but whatever. 40 and nuts, nailed it. Do you have any other
Midlife
thoughts on
crisis midlife crisis sounds like a PSA on midlife crisis, which
this movie? Kind of
spoiler, this movie
is.
ends up being, I think.
Get this movie's called Call Bruce Dern Psychiatrist. He needs help.
Seriously, as
We'll
soon
get
as he
that.
starts having fantasies, I'm like, this isn't funny. It's just I
Yeah,
feel sorry for him.
as we'll get into, I think sadly the fantasies are supposed to be the fun part, but yeah. Yeah. Do
Yes, just yeah.
you have any other thoughts on the title?
No, I think we covered it. It's just a lazy copying the song that they love so much.
Yeah. Let's talk about the poster, which is right behind me in this cropped JPEG as an old movie. But anyway, the poster is incredibly accurate to the movie because they just took a still from the end of the movie where they're in the hot
I
tub.
wasn't sure they get to it, but they did.
Yeah, it's basically the resolution of the movie, which is kind of
It
weird
ends
for a
up not
poster.
matching what happens in the movie that well because he looks so happy.
I mean, at the very end, he's happy or at least content.
Well, posters are usually for the
Yeah, I
end
know.
of the movie.
Yeah, this movie cheated because they wanted to act like there's gonna be a sex scene in the hot tub between Ann-Margret and Bruce Dern.
Posters, I would say, on average, capture the middle portion of the movie. The fun and games, as you say, in the your film reader thing.
Yeah,
This is not matching the quote unquote fun and games that happen
no,
in the film.
they should have they could have shown like Bruce Dern driving his car, looking frantically in the face with the shadow of a Porsche in the background or something like
Or
that.
I don't know, I guess it's a little complicated, but hugging his wife and then ogling a pretty girl behind her or something.
Or even just like yeah, his face and then a silhouette of Ann-Margret over here and random incredibly young looking woman over
Or
here.
a young woman and a nice car.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, like the young woman sitting on the hood of the. We're getting way too artistic. We should make our own movie, but this is uh oh. The only thing I don't see about the poster is I don't like black and white still of the movie, which makes it look like it's a VHS cover already. And then the candy stripe red border that I found online. It's on the font of the poster too, which you can barely see on the bottom a little bit on my screen. But not on my armpits. But
Hands up.
it just looks cheap. It looks like you go to the Blockbuster to rent this movie before you go to the theater.
Yeah. Very 80s font though.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, still talking about the font on the bottom with
Oh,
the actors that Bruce Dern and Ann-Margret in bold with the title, and then
I like the shaky lines on Crazy. It's a little cliche, but it's like at least something. Uh oh yeah, the tagline, which is really bad because it says there'll be a hot time in the hot tub tonight, which the movie just patently does not address until the last 15 minutes of the movie, if that.
well, you see they have a hot tub when there's a lot of scenes in their house. But yeah, yes, like it's focusing the picture and the slogan are focusing way too much on the hot tub, and it's again not what the movie's about. I guess the people behind this movie are like people will run to this movie if we talk about hot tubs.
It's kind of weird because I on a generic principle, like understand being like, oh, Ann-Margret's a very attractive woman. Let's talk about her getting in a hot tub. But it's also like she's been acting for 30 years, so it's not like I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Yeah, that's just weird.
This is like a year or two after Animal House, so it's just
Yeah,
kind of like Sex in Your Face. Well, it's a little classier than that, I guess, but
yeah, it would have been a better movie if they made it from the point of view of the girl in college with her boyfriend, as opposed to the Bruce Dern. Or yeah,
hey, when you have Bruce Dern, when you focus on Bruce Dern, okay?
which is well, I don't even see it yet, but they literally don't do in Coming Home. But moving on. Okay, yeah. All I want to say because talking about the hot tub thing, uh, the tagline and the fact this movie has an R rating, like yeah, they want you to think this is going to be a sex movie. And I mean, technically, it's like in the kind of way Carnal Knowledge, which I haven't seen, is it's like intellectually about sex, but it's not like a boob movie or anything like that.
Did you talk about a good amount?
Yeah, it's
And his fantasies evolve around sex. There's no nudity, but there are several sexual fantasies.
just bizarre. But yeah, talk about the trailer, which is way better than the movie. Because they do like a 1940s newsreel where they hired some announcer guy who's obviously not in the movie or anything. And he's like, middle-aged crazies, it's disease, it's taken over the nation. Like, look at what, sorry, beeping noise. But like, what's going on with Bruce Dern? And it was entertaining to watch. It did not convey what the movie was like tonally. But thoughts.
Uh, this was a better executed silly movie like that trailer. This would have been a much better movie. So in a way, the movie that I envisioned when watching the trailer is better than the actual movie. So in that way, I like the trailer, but
Yeah, kind of.
it doesn't match. It doesn't end up matching the movie, but which is the movie's fault.
Obviously a much better movie, but the way the trailer was kind of reminded me a little bit of like Airplane or even like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, where it's like more like pandemic of middle age crazy and like things get crazy, stuff like that. Yeah. Better movie, yes. Uh, take a trivia break. So this movie's about uh going middle age crazy, i.e., turning 40. So here's questions about people who had great success after turning 40. First question: Ray Kroc bought his first McDonald's at age 52. His family owned the Padres. For three separate answers, can you name the Padres' all-time leaders in home runs, pitcher wins, and pitching saves?
think Manny Machado just set the home run record.
That's correct.
Trevor Hoffman for saves.
Yes, pitching wins is the most obscure by far. Yes.
This guy had to be a guy pitched for the Padres for a long time, more than actually being good, I think.
Not even that long, honestly, but yeah.
Andy Ashby.
No, I don't really have a clue. Uh,
Just say it. I want
Eric Shaw, Eric Show. Why don't you say it?
Eric Shaw. Eric
I
Shaw.
always because it looks like show, but I've heard it's Shao, I think, or something like that. Yeah. And then bonus question: you have any idea what 1970s first baseman for the Padres, Manny Machado, broke the record for with home runs?
That's Stephen Colbert's brother, African American brother, Nate Colbert.
Yeah, I feel dumb for correcting you. It's actually pronounced Nate Colbert, but yeah, yes, you got it. Yes, you got it
I
right.
knew it's Nate Colbert. Watched a lot of Padre games living in San Diego.
All right, next question. Julia Child published her first cookbook at age 50. What was the name of her famous TV show in America?
What cooking? I don't know.
You're kind of obviously you're on the right track, but it's called The French Chef. Let's talk about characters as a concept. It's pretty easy because basically one character in this movie dominates everything. It's Bruce Dern. I don't want to be the daddy. How many times I said don't want to be the daddy?
That was so. I'm like, I
It
yeah,
was confusing too because I figured it out, but I thought his problem was with Ann-Margret, and then it's like he also doesn't want to deal with her son.
well, it's their son.
Why is he so? That's weird to me because why is he so defensive of taking care of his own son then?
Because he's dropping out of college.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's a little defensible, but yeah, the actual phrase "I want to be the daddy" was insane. But,
He has to take care of his mom because the dad dies, and so uh, I just I, it's so weird that daddy means responsible. I don't.
yeah. Uh, I made a note here. I don't think Bruce Dern has ever played the likable main character of a movie, and he didn't start here. Uh, like I said, why would you cast Ann-Margret in a movie as the character the guy doesn't want to have sex with? It's just bizarre. She was playing hot women in 1993.
Well, I think the movie would be worse if it was like a unattractive fat woman as his wife or something, because then then you would think he's less crazy and more logical.
I guess that's true. I wouldn't want to watch that movie either, but that's a little kind of yeah.
This movie,
Uh,
I think this movie just need to embrace the silly, and it's probably other people could have played the main character better, but with better writing and like someone like Steve Martin playing in like the fantasies of uh telling the kids that they have no future and stuff like that could have been funnier. Uh
yeah.
he's just so angry and sullen and uh mentally ill.
You can't. You definitely have to blame the casting more than Bruce Dern because Bruce Dern always plays like this method acting, unrelenting prick. That's just what he does. You don't hire Bruce Dern to play sweet, retiring. That's not what he does.
I think I have no idea where Sonny Throckmorton's from, but this whole movie's set in Texas. They live in Houston and they drive up to Dallas a couple times. I think is Bruce Dern from Texas? No, he's from Chicago. What the? But he has that sort of like I believe I thought he had a Texas accent, so I guess good for him that he sounds like that. But in this movie, but so they had to pick someone who was Southern-ish at least to be
Yeah,
the main character. So might be why they narrowed down on Bruce Dern.
I mean, yeah, he's a famous actor, like Academy Award quality name. I mean, it's nice, famous. Yeah, I don't
But
know.
he's not a comedy actor though.
No, and this movie sort of seems to thread the line where it's not funny, but it has funny things in it, like the Walt, as well we've hinted at the Walter Mitty type fantasy sequences, and like the sort of broad party scenes and stuff. It's like it hints at a comedy, but it's acted like a drama, also by Ann-Margret too, because she's mostly just yelling at Bruce Dern for being such a fuck up.
They were definitely going for comedy because the way that Bobby Lee and his friend, whose name is JD, only wish was JD from Scrubs. But Graham, the JD is actually one of the better characters within this movie, at least. The way they talk about sex and stuff, it's definitely comedy, and the setup of the fantasies are comedy, but they're just poorly executed. I think the writing and the acting contribute to how poorly executed the fantasies are in terms of a comedy aspect. But they're definitely going for comedy, but it ends up working more as a drama. So I
Yeah,
went, if they told me, oh, we were going for drama, I'm glad you caught it, I would call them liars. So I just think it's poorly executed comedy.
yeah. Similar vein, the dialogue. Uh, Dialogues, I guess, if you like on a generic level, like it's okay, like I can follow it, but it just gets so repetitive and dull to listen to. I don't know.
Dialogue?
Yeah,
Well, takes the title of the movie too literally because it is focused on midlife crisis, middle age. Yeah, it's just this really hammers in on how he's going down the path of self-destruction because of his how middle age, how turning 40 made him go crazy. It's way too simple of a plot in that way. And the dialogue and the actions are fixated on it. It, but it's not funny. If it was funny, it would have been more bearable, but it wasn't funny. So
yeah, and I feel like a lot of lines in the movie, especially when like he's arguing with his wife about what's going on. It just I didn't feel surprised. There weren't any revelations in the dialogue. I felt like I was ahead of the plot a lot. But, yeah. Let's see real quick. What's the opening image of the movie? For some reason, they have a really fairly long shot of a sun sitting on a river with the power lines before they cut
well,
to Bobby Lee and Sue Ann having sex.
the opening credits are setting the scene that the whole movie set in Houston, and then it kind of builds to getting to their house. Um, so I think that was fine. It was kind of weird that that focused on them. It starts with them having sex, but I think that was intentional because it's like, oh, it's what a comedy, wild zany sex comedy. That's where we're starting. It's starting off crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Um,
undeniably a somewhat interesting way to start the movie, right? Talk about this to death, but who's the protagonist? We got Bobby Lee, who is a successful 40-year-old married man living in Texas. What's his job again? I already forgot.
he's a contractor. He builds taco stands, but he's got a potential for a sweet gig to remodel a suite in Cowboy Stadium.
Talk about more of making this an actual comedy movie. He showed it like the big debut of the taco stand, and there's like a chef there. Yeah.
Yes, the fact this movie, I think, wants comedy on the fact that he just makes taco stands, and there's humor to glean because Senor Abe is the name of the taco stand chains that they build. And we meet Senor Abe, and he's a crass, jerky, mean, white Texan guy with no Latino blood at all. So he could have played on that, but nope. Senor Abe's just a dick to both JD and Bobby Lee. when they're working for him in Dallas. Um,
So less, yeah, less comedic potential, more like things building up for the stress in his life or whatever.
the middle-aged crazy.
Yeah. And the ordinary world of the protagonist. He's been married for a long time. He's literally turning 40. He makes good money, but he has to work hard. It's pretty typical middle class success story.
In fact, that you said married a long time. It's a point which drive of what contributes to driving him crazy is that she's literally the only woman he's ever had, and uh, she says the same about him being the only man she's ever had. Yeah, and they have a son who's in love with a has a girlfriend who's about to go to the son is about to go to college. I don't think the daughter is going to college, or at least not with him, I don't think. Um,
No, because that's why he wants to drop out, is because he can't be with her.
and he knocked her up.
Yeah, so I'm a little less sympathetic to Bruce Dern getting mad about him not want because kind of doing the right thing by not going to school, but whatever. And then what does the audience know that the character needs to improve their life or get out of? This movie seems to ignore this thing that's usually in a movie because uh, the movie becomes about his search for having fun and stuff. But he literally drives a nice car. It's not a Porsche, but it's an Oldsmobile. And he has sex with Ann-Margret. So the audience isn't like, oh man, I hope he can improve his station in life. This is weird.
Yeah, I think not just middle guys turning 40, but I think guys in general. There's always a prettier girl, there's always a nicer car, that type of thinking. Um,
Yeah, but the question
Something
is,
the especially the male audience could potentially relate to. Um,
but as an audience, do you feel that a new Oldsmobile versus a Porsche is really a compelling argument?
well, I don't think it's the quality of his Oldsmobile that's driving him crazy. It's that he's always been an Oldsmobile man. It's almost a double entendre, almost. It's like driving the same car,
Yeah.
driving the same woman, if you know what I mean. Hey, hey, hey,
Well,
drive
that's
it.
probably, I mean, yeah, I would have paid attention to this movie better if I liked it, but that's kind of the crux of the Walter Mitty thing is that by driving the Porsche, they'll attract the first you get the car, then you get the women, then you get the sugar.
Well, the movie's so simple. Yeah, the movie's called Middle Age Crazy. He's just in a feels he's in a rut. Um, and
Yeah.
what drives life crisis because is this all I'm gonna be until I die? Um,
I think a better directed movie externally, we would see the internal crisis more than we do. So that's my general point. But yeah, yeah. It's not reflected that well. Anyway, time for our trivia break. More post 40 success stories. So, what actor was 46 when he was cast in the role that redefined his career playing Jules Winfield?
Daniel Jackson.
Yep. This is how I talk. I don't want to be I don't want to be a motherfucking daddy. That's not really.
Man, Black don't crack. No, that means he's holy crap, he's 78 now or something.
Yeah. It's not just him or Black don't crack either. A lot of actors are pushing normal work in their 80s and on now. Next question. Sam Walton founded his first Walmart at age 44. In what state is Sam Walton best known for living in, where his city of residence has become a minor landmark to this day?
I believe the Waltons started in Arkansas, not your Kansas.
Yes, do you have any idea what the famous quote unquote Walton town is?
Uh, how many towns do I know in Arkansas? I'm guessing it's not Little Rock, so I'll say Hope.
The Bentonville.
Bentonville.
So, next thing on our checklist of plot progression, what event in the movie sucks our protagonists from their normal life into the events of the story? You might be able to help me with this a little bit because it seems like he has a 40th birthday party
Uh-huh.
and he gets confronted with a lot of reminders how old he is and stuff. And then we cut to the next scene and he's going insane about Porsches and fucking younger women.
Well, there's so many fantasies in this movie, and like I said, they're not funny. They just make you feel bad for him, and he can't control his fantasies because he's like walking around and then like around in public, and then just freezes and goes in a fantasy. So he really should, I don't know, get some pills. I don't know.
Well, to be fair,
But
because I mean, have you ever read The Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
no,
Because it's
I
basically
know
what
what it's about though.
this movie basically ripped that idea off entirely, which is that the guy goes through his normal life and he has these elaborate, far flung fantasies he's in. You don't think he's crazy, you just think that he's like daydreaming. So I mean,
I suppose. But in order of fantasies, I believe the first one is he sees his uh son sleeping with uh his girlfriend in his car, and he just during the birthday party he just walks away, and it's the creepiest fantasy because he imagines himself sleeping with that same girl. It's not incest, but it feels incestuous to fantasize about your son's girlfriend.
yeah, I agree.
And then that's a big fantasy because he dies in that fantasy after sleeping with his son's girlfriend. So I think the fear of death is what I think truly drives midlife crisis. So that's in that way, it's good that it's the first one because it drives him crazier and crazier throughout the movie, almost till the end. He calms down at the very, very end in the hot tub, as we talked about.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, cover that, most of that. Okay, we talked about this before. It's not a movie where the middle of the movie is about having sex in hot tubs. What is the fun and games, the entertaining middle that audiences expect from watching the trailer slash the poster? And like I say, the poster makes no sense, but I guess the fun and games is watching what he does when he goes middle age crazy, like scenes that sound
Yep,
more fun than they are. It's like he dreams about buying a Porsche, and then he secretly
yep,
goes out and buys a Porsche, and
yep.
he dreams about fucking a younger woman, and he goes out and fucks the younger woman. These scenes could be fun. They're not, but they could be fun.
He gets to tell all the kids at his son's high school graduation that they have no future. He fantasies about being the speaker.
Yeah, in a better movie, that would have been a really fun scene where like he completely lost his mind, then he gets a standing ovation from the kids, and the parents are mad or something. Instead, it's just sort of like, okay, he's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, it's how crazy will he get? Is the fun and games, I guess.
It's neither fun
How
nor
far will he go?
it is neither a fun nor a game. But yes, that is the at least the premise pulling you forward through the movie, I guess.
I just
Yeah.
want to say, we've talked about the Porsche and the women. One other thing he fantasizes about and does is buys new clothes. And my God, maybe it's really sweet clothes and cowboy lore, but it was not a good shirt. And he just gets a cowboy hat and cowboy boots.
And that doesn't pay off either. He doesn't like start acting like a cowboy.
That's just like high fashion for
Yeah.
Texas, I guess.
This movie is not like my metaphor before earlier, which you kind of questioned, but like, I stand by. This movie reminds me a lot of like I guess TV movies more accurate than a sitcom, but it's kind of the same thing where the stakes are a lot more middling because they know they have to make a lot of these, and it's just sort of like that's what it feels like. It just kind of feels like it's a guy in a town, and that's the premise. It's like a low rent sitcom or something. Anyway, eh, another confusing one. What event near the end of the movie suddenly takes the protagonist's joy away from them? I guess it's clear. What he does after is a little odd, but I guess it's kind of clear because he's talking to Suan, and Suan confesses to him, which is kind of weird, but whatever, that she had sex
Yes.
with a cop, and she had sex with the cop once. And then what's also weird is that uh, Bobby is like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I've been having an
Oh
affair
my
with
God.
a
But
young
wait, hold on.
woman."
Before we get to that, he literally slaps the drink out of her hand, like, holy shit, he's gonna kick her ass. And then he doesn't go any further than that. But the way he slapped the drink out of her hand was really violent. And then she cowered in fear, and he started to act like he was gonna punch her in the back of the head or something, and then he stopped. It's like
Yeah,
that escalated quickly. It's like this is supposed to be a comedy.
I guess the only reason I ignored that is not because I think it's like defensible or normal or anything. It's just the movie ignores it so quickly because Bobby calms down or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, you had sex with the cop once? Okay, I had sex with the young woman many times, and I might do it again." And then she gets upset. Bobby gets confused at her getting upset about him having a perpetual affair with another woman multiple times.
Yeah, because he gets upset because she asks him, "Do you love her?" And she's like, "Well, I don't love her." And then, but then she still gets upset. And then I think it's because well, I told you I didn't love her.
Yeah. So the movie, it could have clarified this a little bit, but it's the closest thing to a plot this movie has. So Suan is kind of like, you kind of have to choose because we've been married a long time. Do you want to keep fucking this woman? And Bobby, the way Bobby floats through the plot is so weird because he basically decides no, but he's not fully turned off until he goes back to the mistress, and
Yeah.
the mistress has another boyfriend, and she's like, "You knew this wasn't exclusive," and then you get this implication that Bobby's like, "Oh man, I don't want to be with a woman who's gonna fuck another guy." It's kind of weird, and then
Pretty much.
it's like
She said no strings attached.
he literally did the same thing to his wife.
I know. It's like he's middle-aged crazy and he's not seeing things straight. So
But the movie doesn't like label him as being crazy from a third party who can judge him and punish him or anything. It's just like he just sort of decides to stop being crazy, I guess. Eh. Anyway, it's pretty much the end of the movie now.
so
So
yes, it's I thought about this. I just want to say I thought about that. I think the movie would have been better if he decided without seeing another man with the mistress, uh, that I should really just focus on my wife and I should leave that young woman. But then it's, oh, I guess I'm not exclusive to that young woman. I guess I go to my second option and live the rest of my life with my wife and end movie.
then, because obviously the people watching or listening to this podcast aren't going to watch the movie because it's terrible. We're telling you it's terrible. But uh, the act Bruce Dern's already an old man. He looks old in this movie, and then he's 40, I guess. But and then the actress they cast to play that woman looks really young. So I guess my general point is that it's just kind of creepy that he goes to a college to break up with her, and I don't know.
College.
Well, she wasn't in college. It was like a
I
dorm
thought she was
room.
just I thought she was just in an apartment or a house or
Oh,
something.
well, they cast an actress way too young for that part. I know it's supposed to be because it's kind of hard to cast against Ann-Margret because she's still a beautiful woman at 40 or whatever old she is. But they cast the one who looked too young to play the mistress. Just generally unnerved me a little bit. Yeah. Anyway,
She still looks like someone in her 20s, and that's stereotypically what middle-aged men chase after in their wild fantasies. So,
I mean, Ann-Margret's got a better body. I don't. Okay, I stop talking about the
whoa.
Margaret thing. But yeah, it's true though. It's such a weird. It's like if you did some like it's hot, some like it hot, and then Tony Curtis looked away from Marilyn Monroe and looked at some other woman, it would just be like, what's going on? I don't understand.
Get to make a new segment for Babe rankings, Razzie movies.
I mean, spoiler alert, Ann-Margret would be pretty high because he's this is a known commodity that Ann-Margret is hot. That's like her whole appeal. I'm sorry. Yeah, good actress too, but I mean, Jesus Christ. Moving on, it's getting awkward. So anyway, yeah, the movie ends. I mean, we talked about this most basically. So here's the weird thing: that was a different party at the end of the movie
Party.
because at the end of the movie they show a lot of people come over and talk to Bobby, and so it's very similar to the beginning of the movie. You remember this?
I remember a second party. Literally thought he sees.
Oh, maybe it's a flashback to the party because they show party scenes.
Gonna another get together. I don't know what it was for. Uh, yeah, okay.
Anyway, yeah,
I don't think that's really important to anything. But
it would be interesting if they used somehow used the first party in a flashback or a second party or in a better movie, whatever. Anyway, yeah, delineate that better. But anyway, after the get together at the end, whatever that is, they climb into he sits in the hot tub with his clothes on. She gets in the hot tub. Everyone's happy because they made the poster, and
although he leaves his job for no reason, I guess Senior Abe is a dick, but he just tells Senior Abe to take this job and shove it, basically. So he has no money. He has no source of income at the end of the movie.
yeah, I mean the implication is he'll figure something out because he's happy now or whatever. But yeah, so yeah, that's the end. We covered all that stuff. He does have that weird. No, it's not. I keep saying weird. Everything movie's weird, but it's not that bad. He talks to the son, and I can't remember what was the actual resolution that the son is going to go to college or is not going to go to college.
No, he's not going to go to college, but
Bruce Dern's fine with it or whatever. But yeah,
yeah, he's fine with it, and he's going to take care of I don't know her character. I can't remember her character name, but his girlfriend. Um, they'll raise the, I guess, have the baby, raise the baby, whatever. But the son and the girlfriend are an afterthought for the plot, really.
I
Just the
mean,
device for Bobby Lee, but
I was gonna say honestly, it's one of the better things in the movie in the sense that it does show a change from the beginning to the end. He was like he had murderous rage because he didn't want to be a father to his son in his 20s, and then or I guess technically teens, but anyway, and then at the end of the movie he's a lot gentler. Like that's the only good scene in the movie in terms of aside from intercourse with Ann-Margret, for Brewster not acting like an angry asshole the whole movie. So honestly, I like that scene. But,
yeah.
anyway, so yeah, the it's not as we discussed. It's not super clear why, aside from the plot, he just sort of stops doing all the things he's doing and calms down and is happy with Ann-Margret again, despite the fact that there's nothing really changing in their physical environs or interpersonal relationship. This movie just ends. Yay.
He's gonna sell a Porsche. There's no reason for. I guess because it's a sign. It's a make him feel worse about his middle-aged life crisis, but he could have kept the Porsche.
Well,
But he said,
There was the thing where he used his job as a underwriting on the Porsche because the he was going to get it for free because he had a job or something. So he
oh
could
yeah, he
keep
said
the
he could
Porsche.
expense it. So maybe he lost his job, so he has to sell it. But he didn't say it. He just said, "I'll turn in the Porsche tomorrow."
I think it's implied that his hand is being forced financially, but it is also a moral decision as well. And he technically did get to drive it, so he did sow his wild oats for however long, a week or whatever, or less. I don't know. Yeah. All right. How's the protagonist? in his world in the end compared to the beginning. Uh, I mean, in the movie's defense, it's not clear how he got there 100%, but he definitely goes from less of a anxious douche to a nice man at the end.
I guess. Don't if they establish, I don't know. He's basically starts going through a midlife crisis at the beginning, so you don't know how he was like before he turned 40. So I think you have to suppose a lot of things to how he'll be moving forward and such. I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, maybe a little more go with the flow. He'll sit in the hot tub with his clothes on, the universal sign of a guy who doesn't give a shit. I got it. It's dumb. It does remind me again like a TV movie or a sitcom. A sitcom
Yes,
would
that's what
love
they're going for.
sitcom would love a guy character sitting in a hot tub with their clothes on.
Put in my notes, this whole movie's like a PSA for avoiding a midlife crisis. So they could have had like a at the end title card come up that says, just because you're turning 40 doesn't mean your life's gonna end. The more you know, or I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very common. I'm not sure about 1980, but especially when we were kids, it's a very common trope on TV is like buying a sports car. Anyway, uh, closing image. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. It does make sense from it passed one test in screenwriting. The opening image and the closing image makes sense because we open with Ann-Margret giving Bruce Dern sex to sort of like pacify him and keep the marriage going. And at the end of the movie, they're having sex again, and it's allegedly more positive. So it does match.
Yep.
All right, time for another trivia break. Uh, Toni Morrison wrote her first novel, The Bluest Eye, at age 40. What actress produced and starred in a financially unsuccessful film version of Morrison's Beloved?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Oprah Winfrey. Betty White had her career defining role at age 51, playing Sue Ann Nivens on what popular sitcom?
Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yes. Uh, so my overall grade for how this movie's structured. Uh, if you look at it from a distance, you got the basic midlife crisis, resolution. Um, but in terms of like making memorable plot points and a movie that makes sense when you watch it or fun to watch, just a hot mess. Should have been shorter for sure. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's structured well in that way. I guess, is that it says that he should be happy. He's successful. He's a successful 40-year-old, but then his middle-aged craziness builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. It gets worse and worse. Starts missing work. Starts fucking the mistress more. And then it settles, but it's just not entertaining along the way, really.
Yeah. Like I said, it could have been way shorter because
It's only 95 minutes.
I know, but the reason you forgive a lot of thinly plotted comedies because you get these big set pieces that are funny or you like the actors, and it's just none of that's here. Cut all that stuff out. Talk about the pacing. No, there's not much here. I mean, I was momentarily curious about the fantasy sequences because it's kind of subversive, but um, I was a big clock watcher of a movie. It did feel like watching something at school or something. I don't know. It's rough, slow.
Uh, Party takes a little too long, so it takes a little too long to get into the crazy. I just want to make a side note on the party. The only time I genuinely laughed at this movie was the only character I thought was funny was the best friend's wife uh is a born again Christian, and she scolds her husband for drinking, and she said it in a funny way where he and the movie should have been more like this where it gets fully embraced the silly. He starts drinking and he goes, "Look, everybody, my husband's committed himself to going to hell," and then or something like that, and
Yeah, I actually
something
think. Go ahead.
someone in
Sorry.
the kitchen too with her. So she's the best character in the movie.
Actually, I was gonna say, looking back, obviously there's no plot contribution, but the party sequence was probably the most entertaining part of the movie for me, which is still from a low bar, but just because it was a little spontaneous, felt a little less, obviously much less Bruce Dern-y. So yeah, I kind of enjoyed the like almost Altman-esque way they shot that. You could make a movie out of that party, but it was better than the movie.
Yes, how many people are there and stuff. It's got more going on for it than the other scenes, to be honest.
Yeah, and like I said, I thought they reused footage from the party at the end, but they probably didn't. But it felt like the director knew that the party was where the good stuff was at. But yeah, talk about the tone. Not really a critical thing, just noticing what it is. In terms of plot, it's kind of like an '80s boner comedy, or like I keep saying, either a film sitcom or a TV movie from the '80s because it's got a lot of. I mean, we did watch a VHS rip, but not very dynamic use of colors, very gray. And in terms of the more filmic component, it kind of felt a lot of times like a very intense, quasi realistic drama, which I think was Bruce Dern's performance. But yeah, that's my general note on what the tone is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it totally falls flat as a comedy and it turns into more of a drama. Uh, yeah, tone's kind of all over the place because it gets very silly, but not that funny. But because it is, they're middle-aged men, but the Bruce Dern and his best friend, they only talk about sex, and this is where the best friend is the voice of reason because he says, "I'm really thinking about buying a Porsche," and he says. He correctly says, "You're only thinking about buying a Porsche because you saw a really hot girl at the car dealership." And he's like, "No, I'm not." And then that's literally exactly why he wanted a Porsche because he saw the uh, Cowboys cheerleader slash interior designer girl that he ends up sleeping with at the car dealership. Um, so yes, but then it gets dramatic otherwise. So it's just from scene to scene, the tone doesn't match. And but the main fault is the movie was written as a comedy and it fails, so the drama shines through more when it shouldn't. So it's just weird.
Yeah. Uh, be pretty quick. The originality of the movie. The only defense I have of this movie in terms of originality is that maybe it was 1980, which is 40 odd years ago. This is like a crazy cool concept. When I was a kid, it felt like every like sitcom drama a character who's turning 40 and buying a sports car and getting a young girlfriend. The closest thing to originality is the Walter Mitty dream sequences, but none of those paid off well. So this is one of those movies that like it would just be hard to differentiate and be like, oh, I loved Middle Age Crazy. It's my favorite movie of the year. No one would ever say that ever.
Uh, yeah, it doesn't feel very original now. I think there's a lot about men getting tempted. Movies from 2026 look at the past. There's been a lot of movies, comedy movies. Most of them aren't that funny about men getting tempted by younger women and stuff.
7 Year Itch. I'm sure there's a lot more,
Um,
Yeah.
So I would that very original.
And then marketability, how much you be willing to tell a friend to watch this movie? Uh the only thing I could say positive about this movie, I would love to make a YouTube rip of some of Bruce Dern's quotes in this movie. Like I think you can make a big meme out of I don't want to be the daddy. I don't want to be the daddy. But as a movie, it's unpleasant to look at with a generic plot, and it just doesn't feel like it has enough meat on the bone to be anything. So I would never tell anyone to watch this movie ever.
No. Um, no, I can't think of anything. It had to only be like you want to be a Bruce Dern completist or watch movies, every movie set in Texas. I don't know. No, this be being silly. No, there's nothing worth telling anyone about this movie.
You like the song, maybe? The song's probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
Yes, like I said, there's multiple songs I liked in this movie. But I can't really recommend anyone sit through this movie for them. You could just find the songs online or something.
Yeah. And I did like how they used the song in the movie, not really artistically, but just as a concept. They played it a lot at the end. I just like the song. Yeah, but whatever. Uh, Another trivia break. Vera Wang made her first fashion designs at age 40. This was after failing to make the 1968 U.S. Olympic team in what sport?
She was a figure skater, right?
Yes, I'm surprised you knew that. Yes. Rodney Dangerfield did not become nationally known as a stand up comedian until at the earliest, performing on the Ed Sullivan Show at age 46. What's the name of his plus size clothing magnate character in Back to School? Arr.
Hmm. Wally, no, it's because Meet Wally Sparks. Whatever. I already said Wally Smith. I don't remember.
His name's Thornton Mellon. Fun fact I did not know. Apparently, his dad in the flashback goes by the name Maloney, and Rodney Dangerfield changed it when he became successful as a businessman.
Hmm.
So technically, it's Thornton Maloney. I think a time, yeah, let's go through the Razzie noms. There's only two. No secret Golden Globe nominations for this movie, obviously. John Trent was nominated for Worst Director. I don't know why the committee bothered to nominate these guys because they're not really whatever.
It's not really poorly directed, I would say. So I don't know if it deserves it, but it's not well directed either. So I guess it's
I
fine.
was gonna say because this movie lost to Xanadu and Robert Greenwald, and Xanadu has a lot of is notoriously badly directed. This movie is badly directed, so I do think it does deserve consideration because, but I agree that it's not like famous for it or anything. It's kind of mixed bag. But similarly, Carl Kleinschmidt was nominated for worst screenplay, who lost to Alan Carr and Bronte Woodward for Can't Stop the Music. It's kind
I
of like
think
pick
this
your
is worse.
poison.
I think this is worse than that.
I was gonna say, Can't Stop the Music is kind of a campy mess. This is just sort of like uh boring. And yes, I kind of think Can't Stop the Music is definitely better, but the same kind of thing. It's like I think it's probably better for the Razzies to pick something that's famously a cartoonish example of something as opposed to a uh bankrupt version.
Uh, There's dunking on the Village People, I think, with a lot of the awards, the Razzies. It is a bad movie.
That's the worst part of the movie is the characters and the dialogue. Easily. I like Can't Stop the Music well enough, but yeah.
Screenwriting is terrible, and I think Can't Stop the Music succeeded in its concept, where it was a showcase for the Village People. How in a fictitious way became successful. And this is a failure of a comedy, so it's horrible comedy writing. That's what Carl Kleinschmidt was trying to do here, and he failed. So clearly should have won over that if you're just comparing those two.
it's kind of apples and oranges to me personally, because there was a lot of boring dialogue and Can't Stop the Music that maybe you liked, but I definitely didn't. I don't know.
I'm just comparing this and these two movies, and I'm not comparing it to like Amadeus or
No, no. I mean, but I'm just saying
Citizen Kane.
you could. It doesn't make the argument that Can't Stop the Music has. I don't know. Whatever. They both suck in their own ways. Fine. Uh, Brief review, score, and how you rank on the '80s pantheon of Razzie movies. Go.
Uh, Give it a two. Give it some credit for the wacky fantasies, I guess. But it's a failure as a comedy, so it's more of a drama, and it's not that good either. Probably we're getting the two, but I already said it. Uh, God, it's either this or The Island for the worst Razzie movie we've seen so far. And it's hard to compare because they're different genres, different problems. But I just unnecessary gore is the tiebreaker, so I'd say Island's worst, and this is probably second worst of the Razzie movies we've seen so far.
Yeah, I almost completely agree with you. It's not funny if it's supposed to be a drama, if it's a comedy. There's no complexity if it's supposed to be a drama. It's just badly written if it's a drama. And on the visual level, I know we watched a VHS rip, which could always defend this movie forever, but clearly there's just no detail in terms of like color or visual acuity. And the only reason I gave it a two basically is that Bruce Dern is a technically skilled actor, and he made a choice for this movie, and he did it. And I give him some credit for the exercise, but I hated watching this movie. 2 out of 10. And I almost feel like retiring The Island because The Island to me is almost some kind of equivalent of violent pornography, and it's very hard to defend The Island. But The Island had some like basic filmmaking choices and acting choices that were clearly better than this movie. So I'm kind of torn, but they're both near the bottom for sure. And now it's time for our final trivia break. More successful 40-year-olds plus uh Charles Darwin didn't publish on the origin of species until he was 50. What
Okay.
what British university is home to the postgraduate Darwin College?
Well, certainly more than two, but I figure it's one of the two famous ones. Oxford.
Cambridge.
Ah,
All right, and then a somewhat hard one, we'll see. Alan Rickman didn't land the role of Hans Gruber in Die Hard until he was 42. What actor played opportunistic reporter Richard Thornburg in Die Hard, as well as allegedly dickless EPA agent Walter Peck in Ghostbusters?
in real science. William Sadly or something.
You do get 50% for the William. His name is William Atherton.
Yeah, but
Very apt name for a guy who talks like this all the time. All right. Now all we got left to do is see if Marcus can guess what movie we're gonna watch. We finished not only worst picture, but now worst director of 1980. So now we're going into worst actor nominations primarily. Yay. Here's your first clue in the next movie. Another romantic comedy, this time starring Robert Blake and Diane Cannon.
oh dear God.
Called Courtside at the Liquor Game.
I'll go with a different joke. My wife fell on the gun.
I was gonna kill Diane Cannon, but I killed my wife instead.
That's my guess. I really have nothing.
Oh, I figured, but anyway, okay. Your second clue, the title is also a three-word geographic slash nautical-ish phrase, often used to describe a radio station that plays across the country.
C to C.
Definitely on the right track. It's Coast to Coast, another movie that is so good it's not available on any legitimate streaming service. Much easier to find if you Google it than Middle Age Crazy. We'll talk about specifically where to find it off air because I don't want to. Well, whatever. I'll just say it. It's on YouTube for now. Don't ruin it, America. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll send you the link, Marcus, off air. And that concludes it. Unless you have anything else to say, if you see a bill, take a twin and put it in there and go. It's great for audio. Okay, twin bill. Book me on your shows, or let's be best friends and hang out. Maybe I don't know.